Okay, so this past spring break, I decided to go on a cruise with a bunch of guys, and the cruise left from Miami, went to the Bahamas, and when we were in the Bahamas on the island of Nassau, we decided to rent mopeds. And it was a pretty easy situation. You gave them the money, they had you drive around like for a minute or two, and then they said, you're good to go. And perhaps we weren't good to go because I was on the moped operated by another graduating senior named Jeff Travis, who is here right now. And at the first busy intersection, he proceeded to go out into it, completely lost control, and crashed it into the back of a car. But we're both okay and going on with our lives now.
One of my favorite memories is when I was in Chuck's one time, and of course this involves a giant misunderstanding such as my life. I was walking out of Chuck's with a couple of my friends, and Chuck had just replaced one of the fruit baskets with a whole bunch of fresh fruit, and nectarines in particular. And these were the largest nectarines to this day I've ever seen in my life. Well, as one of my friends, Laura Simpson, decided to run up and grab them, another girl was proceeding to walk towards me carrying 3 of these massive nectarines. Without thinking, I go, oh my word, those things are huge! Well, there's this nice young lady to my right who severely misinterpreted what I had just said and went, "Ugh!" and looked highly offended and proceeded to walk away from me with her back towards me, continuing to look over her shoulder to let me know how offended and grotesque of a man that I was, when in actuality this was a large misunderstanding. Well, needless to say, my friends thought this was hysterical and fell on their butts laughing, and I just booked it right out of Chuck's.
Okay, I would have to say that my two of my favorite Cedarville memories both have to do with being on stage. The first one was my freshman year at Leave. I was really honored to be a part of You Can't Stop the Beat, Hairspray, which is still one of the greatest Leave numbers there's ever been. I was in that number with like Jane Covell, Alex Gonzalez, Jess Presley, a few other privileged freshmen, I guess. And it was just a blast. That number was just so much fun, and it was really fun to work with all the upperclassmen on that number too, so that was a lot of fun. Also, my favorite funny memory that I have is during Hello Dolly. We were doing a waltz number, and all the girls had on like white dresses and white bloomers, and right before I went on stage, the elastic in my bloomers snapped. And so, before you know it, I'm on stage dancing with Ben Shearschmidt, and my bloomers are like at my ankles. And I had to continue waltzing for about 3 or 4 minutes with my bloomers at my ankles, and it was really obvious to all the people in the audience that I had dropped my drawers. So it was just kind of really funny.
My favorite memory at Cedarville was all the studying I did.
Mine too, I think.
So freshman year, my roommate liked to go to bed really early, like most nights before 9 o'clock. Well, I was one of 3 freshmen in my unit, and a lot of the sophomores liked to try to keep us up as late as they could. So one particular night, my roommate and I had gone to bed, and Emily, now Graham, she decided to come break into our room and pull us out of bed with her lovely roommate, Kendra Smith. Well, we decided to retaliate and attack them, so I jumped on top of Kendra Smith's head, and we stood on a rug and we went surfing across my room.
So one of my favorite memories of freshman year was hanging out with my roommate, Brian Johnson. And we would stay up late, and this is just for free entertainment. We'd stay up late around like 11:59 or 11:50, and we live in a Rickard. And what we would do was we'd open up the window, turn all the lights off, and he would just make this shrill noise. It sounded something between like a really angry ring wraith and a dying warthog. And he would make it just shrill and kind of in the little between Murphy and Rickard, and it would just be super loud. We'd wait for people to come in, like come in right before curfew. We would scare the mess out of them. People would drop their stuff and run away. People would dive in the bushes. People would just like scream and run in even faster, and that's how we entertained ourselves freshman year. So for all of you who are worried about that, don't worry, the Rickard Raptor is graduating.
If any of you know me, you know that I misplaced everything in my life. And about an hour ago, I picked up my commencement tickets, and I can't find them. So if you find them, if you have them, please give them back to me, Leif Jacobson. I would sincerely appreciate it. So yeah, thanks.
One of my fondest memories from being at Cedarville for 4 years is the friends I've met and grown with over the last 4 years. I grew up on a farm, so I grew up with a lot of cows, and they're great. but they don't have company like humans do. So coming to meet a group of girls that had the spiritual background that could really be supportive in that way, and just a great fellowship and friendship from freshman year, and then just having continued to grow every year has just been a really awesome experience. So when Cedarville says friends for life, it's very true. Definitely have a lot of friends for life here.
Once upon a time, it was a very, very dark night. It was about midnight and an ice storm was coming in through Cedarville. It was last year actually, during the Hello Dolly pre-show. And I was working on costumes. That night we had a lot to get done because we were coming up on the play and we still didn't have all the costumes done that we needed to. So my co-head Amanda and I decided it would be a good idea to spend the night in the SSC working on costumes. So we did until about probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning after everyone had left. And we then went to the 2 different principal dressing rooms which have sofas. And we spent the night there and got up the next morning to a snow day and kept on working. So I didn't leave the theater for over 36 hours that night. It was quite an interesting experience, and actually it was a quite fun one too.
It was my sophomore year and Chase Summerlin was in my unit. And we all knew that Chase always came back to the unit at the same time because he came back when the library closed. He stayed there every night until it closed. So we were all waiting around one night and we decided that we would all go to sleep in Chase's room so we would have a little surprise when he came back. So as we were all laid down all over the floors, all over the beds, all over the desks, all over the chairs in Chase's room and pretending to snore, we heard him unlock the door. And somewhere in between the snoring and the infamous silent Chase Summerlin laugh that he's probably doing right now if he's watching this, is he managed to squeak out, "How'd you guys know when I was coming back?" And that just turned all the snoring into a loud uproar of laughter.
One of my fondest memories was my fall semester of my junior year. I was working the running crew for the fall show Importance of Being Earnest. What the running crew does is they move stuff behind stage and you never see them. During one of our breaks, it was Halloween time, and the running crew was taking a water/bathroom break. 2 of my very good friends, Molly Dents and my current roommate, Holly McClellan, decided to take our bathroom break together. They were all in their bathroom and I made it look like I had left. What I actually was doing was I was hiding in one of the stalls, all spy-like style, with my hands and feet up against the wall. I waited until Molly Dents walked in front of my stall, and then I jumped and leapt out, kicking the door open. At least that's how I thought it was going to go, but when I kicked the door open, it sort of fell on the ground. After about 30 seconds of staring at the door, I looked down, I looked up, and I said, "Run." And we bolted. And actually, if you go into the bathroom this day, ladies only, you can still see that stall and the door is still ajar.
So Doug, what was one of your favorite memories from Cedarville?
Well, one of my favorite memories involves Leif Jacobson, a packet of red Kool-Aid, and a very angry roommate. Basically, Leif ran into a bathroom while someone was taking a shower and just emptied Kool-Aid all over him. And so Leif and I run out after we grab the towel, and we're peeking through one of Waller's little windows, and we just see him barreling at us. And from his neck down, he's just stained red. And
like an Oompa Loompa.
Like an Oompa Loompa.
So there's this activity that's somewhat secretive called earthworming.
It's good times.
I feel like that would have been funny. It was funnier in my mind.
It was funnier in your mind.
It's a pretty fond memory I'll always remember of the night I stayed up till 5 a.m. and got pulled over by a cop in drag. So.
It was funny, man. If you knew who he was.
Why did you say who he was?
Ryan Belton?
Ryan Belton.
Yeah, he was stained from his neck down.